It takes courage to fail and have that mindset of be okay if I'm going to fail, but I'm going to take risks and I'm going to learn from those.
From EE Tech Media, this is Moore's Lobby, where engineers gather to talk all about circuits. I'm your host, Daniel Bogdanoff. I love hosting this podcast because I get to geek out with an industry leader every week. But sometimes we get lucky and there's a story that's bigger than tech, bigger than engineering. Today, it's a human story, an underdog story that happens to involve engineering. I know this sounds cheesy, but it's a really special episode, and I hope it inspires you like it's inspired me. Today, we're talking with Deepali Trehan. She's the Vice President and General Manager of FPGA Product Marketing and the Power Business Unit at Intel. So let's just get started. Deepali, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for having me here. I'm really, really excited about this opportunity.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you. How did you first get into science and engineering?
So what first got me interested in engineering and technology as a kid was really my love for math and science as a young girl. I used to have a lot of passion for solving problems that really led me to choose this career in engineering. And, in those days when I grew up, there was no smartphones, no electric cars, no advanced gaming or buzzwords like AI or machine learning. But I still somehow believe that technology presents unlimited opportunities and possibilities. I would also say that I was very fortunate to have a math teacher. And in my high school, I would say he played a pivotal role in shaping who I am today. He ingrained the mindset of progressing and persevering despite all odds, that can-do attitude. And I recall he would come in and say, I want you to go work so hard that you can deliver 100 on 100 marks in math. And if I would distinctly, I remember if I would ever get distracted in my class, he would come in and say, is this how you're going to get 100, right? You got to stay focused. You got to be the role model for the rest of the class. And he just so much instilled that fire in me that I could go and even pursue something like science and then later on pursue a career in engineering.
What was the learning environment where you grew up? And where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in India, Delhi. So, my humble beginnings were the times where I would say education was a privilege, especially for women. And I would say in my entire family, extended family, I was the only girl who not only completed my high school, so very fortunate and blessed that way, but also I was able to aspire and have this aspiration that I want to pursue engineering. I would say my parents, growing up, they would be constantly bombarded with questions like, why are you sending your unmarried daughter to go to another state and pursue engineering, or go get her married? You're going to end up spending all your money on your daughter's education. You better save some for your son, right? That was the mindset. And fortunately, and I feel blessed that my parents were very, very progressive, and my father firmly believed that education can change life, not only of me, but of generations. And I think that's very true.
It sounds like you were held to a pretty high standard compared to your family and your other students. Were you always just top of your class, gifted, kind of intuitively good at this sort of thing?
So I remember in our school, there would be and this is very typical, at least in those days, it was very typical in Delhi. So there would be 3 sections. Section A was all the brightest kids. Section B was average kids. And there would be another section C, which had the poorest of the kids, where the teachers had to work the hardest with them I think the mindset there was just the entire class then gets to spend specific, amount of time or specific areas they can spend more time with the teacher. So I was in the C section, to be very open with you, in my 9th grade. So the one that was of poorest kids. And somehow this teacher found or saw something that I personally never believed I was capable of. He was just He saw my passion, and he saw that I could do better somehow from the rest of the class, and I could be that role model and inspire other kids to do more and to be more. I think I had a change of heart from my eighth to ninth grade. Until eighth grade, if you would see my report cards or my, all the results, it would all be red, like across the board. And after that teacher, that inspiration came in my life, I think it's just like I just had a change of heart, and I was just so motivated and inspired to do more. And I felt like I have to do it for him because, I need to prove him right that I can do it. And that was just so important. And I really believe it's all because of him.
What an incredible role model to have in your life. That's fantastic. So your teacher saw something in you, and your parents must have seen something in you too, to push for not just to get good grades, but to get perfect grades.
Right.
How did that come about? And did you feel like at any point it was maybe unfair?
I think I got this sense of responsibility. So I have two younger siblings, and throughout my upbringing, I would see my dad, who would just work so hard, and my mom, she started her own business because we were not able to, get the ends meet. And I used to see her work so hard, and that inspired me a lot, that I could, if I study hard, I get a good job, then I can help and fund the education of my siblings. And that's exactly what happened. So when I had to pursue engineering, my father took early retirement. He used all of his provident fund. Here we call it 401k. In India, we used to call it provident fund. And he used that to allow me to go and pursue engineering. And he basically put all his savings on me, like literally everything, every penny that he had. He said, let me go and enable my daughter to become an engineer. And my mindset then became like, I gotta do this. And so once I start earning, I gotta be in a position to fund the education of my younger siblings. So it was just a sense of responsibility and just desire to prove people who believed in me right. And just that's what I think made a lot of difference, I would say.
What an incredible story. I am blown away.
Thank you.
So your dad basically used his retirement fund to get you into college, but you didn't start in engineering. What did that look like, and what did that journey from high school through engineering school look like for you?
My father, when he took the early retirement, I was just so convinced that, it's just a matter of 4 years. My mindset was very clear. All I got to do is I got to study hard and get good grades in my degree, get an engineering degree. And then I'm just going to get a job, land a lucrative job, get a job and make a lot of money and fund the education of my siblings and start helping with the family. And, that took me I went to Nagpur to get my engineering degree, where I would say my foundational bricks of my career were laid. And I got my degree with flying colors. I did really well. And my confidence really skyrocketed because I felt like I'm so close to my goal. I got good grades, and now I'm going to be able to go back to Delhi, my hometown, get a job. Delhi is like the capital of India. There's no shortage of job opportunities there. The reality was far from that. I was hugely unsuccessful, I would say, in landing a job. And this was back in 2003. Every day I would wake up in the morning, get on a public transport. We didn't have any like a car or anything. Like just like everybody, we would just. Sometimes my dad will accompany me. Sometimes my mom will accompany me. Most days I'll go alone, but we would just go and drop my resume at different companies throughout the city and come back home exhausted in the evening. But like really hoping that I'll get a call tomorrow for a job interview. And 3 months passed, 6 months passed, and still no luck. And so despite what you plan, sometimes it doesn't pan out the way you expect. And so I finally decided, why don't I pursue further education and my master's? But I knew that if I go down that path, I would have to self-fund myself. There's no, I have to save enough money to be able to apply for grad schools, and then even fund my ticket, one-way ticket to, if I come to US, one-way ticket to US and all that. So that's when I started working at a BPO, Business Process Outsourcing Center. This was very prominent, I would say, back in 2000s, early 2000s in Delhi. And especially if you hold an engineering degree in India, in Delhi, you get paid, compensated pretty well. So, but it's not something that I wanted to do. It was basically, I was debugging why internet is not working for, for people in US. So anyway, I also worked at McDonald's, local McDonald's nearby. So, because really over the next 6 months, my goal was to save enough so I can apply to certain colleges. And I applied actually at 5 universities, including Texas Tech. I got admitted to all 5, but Texas Tech was the only one that offered me in-state tuition and scholarship. And of course, my number one criteria was whatever is the cheapest, I'm going to go there. And then I'll work my way from there. Because my father and my mom used to always say that if you really have that passion and desire to accomplish something, then you can be anywhere and still get to, of course, Ivy League colleges are always great, but somebody who has that desire and that passion and that fire can be successful anywhere, can come from anywhere, right? So my criteria of picking tech was really because it was affordable for me. And so that's how I landed at Texas Tech University. And then I got hired by TI, Texas Instruments, to do a product engineering there. So very fortunate to be able to get a internship job right. Actually, I had not even completed. I had not even graduated at that time, but I had an offer in my hand to do product engineering at TI.
That had to feel really good to have an offer coming out of school after the troubles after your bachelor's.
Yes.
What was your focus area at Texas Tech?
Electrical engineering. So, I was in a master's in electrical engineering. I was there for about 9 months. After 9 months, I think it was October, November timeframe, I was already working closely with my advisor at the time in the university, who was, kind of helping me through the process of interviews at different groups within TI.
We'll chat more about that in a moment, but it's time for a quick break. I'm joined today by Karen Reyes, an applications engineer at Rome, to talk to us about Apec. Karen, what should people know about Apec?
Well, Apec, it's Applied Power Electronics Conference focusing on partial and practical and applied aspects of the power electronics business. Each year, thousands of electronic enthusiasts get together to learn about new trends in the market. And one of those is ROM semiconductors. This year, Apec 2023 will be in Orlando, Florida, from March 19th to March 23rd.
And if people are at Apec, where will they find you on the show floor?
You and all the power electronics enthusiasts can visit ROM Semiconductor's booth at number 832. We will be showcasing all of our latest products for automotive and industrial applications.
And I've been to Apec and I really enjoyed some of the breakout sessions. Are there any seminars or anything that you're putting on?
Absolutely. Actually, this year, Ming Su, who is our Senior Technical Marketing Manager Specialist in Silicon Carbide Devices, will be hosting a seminar. This is called Challenges and Solutions for Packaging State-of-the-Art Silicon Carbide Power Devices. It will be on Wednesday, March 22nd at noon, and everybody is welcome to attend.
Is there anything that you're excited to show off at Apec?
Absolutely. We will not only showcasing ROM Semiconductor's own devices, but also how these devices are used in real-life application. In other words, we will be presenting our customers' latest development and final products implementing ROM power devices, especially focusing on silicon carbide modules.
So what will be the main takeaway from ROM's booth?
Our statement for Apec 2023 is electronics for the future. We want to make sure to leave an impact of all our visitors, contributing to their needs for energy saving and miniaturization by improving the efficiency of power management systems, and still complying with our company mission that is quality is our top priority at all times.
Well, it sounds like Apec's going to be a great show. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you for having me, Daniel, here.
And now we're back with Deepali Trehan of Intel. So Deepali, what was it like moving from Delhi to Lubbock? Because I've been to Lubbock.
Oh, it was interesting. It was cold. I remember. So I was a spring semester. I joined in the spring, right? So I came to Lubbock around in December timeframe. It was just freezing there. I could have never imagined that it ever gets this cold. I mean, Delhi gets cold. Don't get me wrong. But it was just different level of wind and the weather-wise, right? Yeah, it was just an interesting transition, and I was able to work closely with my classmates who helped me through the process of getting settled in at the university. I had a lot of support from my seniors, as well as support from my advisor, and the teachers were just amazing. I mean, just I had a really, really great experience, always leaning in to support and help.
So then you went to Texas Instruments and you got a product engineering job there. What sort of products did you work on?
Yeah, I worked on automotive ASIC. So I was in the mixed signal automotive division at TI. That was another, I would say, transition time for me where culture of, can-do attitude, culture of never taking no for an answer, just making things happen was ingrained. So I'm really proud of my experience at TI. I wouldn't have had it any other way. The mindset of just customer first, customer obsession, the culture of pushing the boundaries of your role when needed. There were times when I would go and debug a test program. I would become a test engineer, roll up my sleeves and go do that. Or go run a design simulation because you're trying to correlate a bug that you're seeing in silicon at a design level. And TI was, I would say, a place where the very first seeds of customer obsession were planted in me. Literally, that's where I learned I should never allow anybody to write my job description because that would be limiting. You go write your own. There would be times when I'm doing a technician work, soldering or taking samples from one building to the other on a weekend or at 9 p.m. at night because we need to deliver those parts to our customers. So you just simply assume leadership. And I think TI had that culture. I'm sure they do even today. But at that time, that was the culture that I was surrounded by. And I had great set of mentors. I had great set of managers who always inspired me and who always supported me. Never have, even if I was doing a test engineering job or sometimes going in the lab, even helping out with the failure analysis, never questioned me like, why are you stepping on other people's turfs? Everybody was just very, very supportive.
So were you actually designing chips and on that level, or what did that role look like?
Yeah, that wasn't my role, technically. But, if we would ever, like, how silicon, automotive is a very stringent in terms of, failure in a car can be catastrophe at times. So it's all about quality. It's about reliability and functional safety. So stringent running conditions, stringent DPPM requirements, delivering AEC Q100 qualifications. And I honestly think automotive is not something where you can dabble on. You have to design your silicon for automotive, but there were times when we would be taking an IC which might be developed for commercial purposes or for industrial application. We would qualify it for automotive. So, and then when you're doing that, and you see some sort of when you're running your test program at a high temperature, you're trying to take it to 125 C, and it's today qualified for only 85 degrees Celsius. And then you might start seeing some failures. You might have to correlate at corners at the design simulation level. So I would go off and I'll partner with the design engineer within my organization, and they would always help. We would create the test bench, and I would go off and run design sims. But really, it was all about making sure that customer is satisfied and we are able to deliver to our commitments that we have made to our customers.
How is your perspective different than that of your coworkers based on your background and what you had to overcome to get there?
My perspective compared to my coworkers, I would say, was that product engineering is a role where you have to stay on top of everything that's happening in the life cycle of a product. So designer designs the part, test program tests the part. Of course, you have other various function, application engineering, sales engineering. All of these folks are going to help. with their respective roles. But product engineer has to make sure that we complete the qualification, characterization, and deliver that product and deliver and meet the commitments to our customers. So there would be times when I would go out and ask the design engineer, for example, why is something happening like this at a transistor level, or we are getting a floating node, and sometimes I would get an answer, I know as much as you know. So then I would go off and say, okay, so, he's just a designer and he knows as much as I know. Even though he has designed the chip, he should have known like how this particular functionality is working the way it is. But then I realized, I think it's all just about just rolling up your sleeves and digging in to understand. And you just try and understand, like by running different test benches, what is going on in the design, right? How is the spec written? How's the implementation? How's the architecture? What process node perhaps is playing a role, right? So we will go off and try to correlate all of those things.
That makes sense. It's a little bit of grit seems to help with most roles.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned into leadership at TI. Can you talk about that change and maybe advice for folks who are considering a similar move?
Yeah, I can say that first 4 years of my career at TI was a product engineer. I did some program management as well. Like I said, there's no job description per se that I was trying to fit in, but I was trying to assume multiple roles when needed, as the business warranted, to make sure that we meet our customer commitments. So let me share that a bit of a journey. One of the products that I worked so hard on over the last, say, 4 years or so, ended up being canceled. And I was told that the business case disappeared for that product. And, that didn't settle well for me. I wanted to know what happened. So I started asking the questions, how do you build a business case to begin with, And why did we not keep validating the business case with the customer? Like, we worked so hard, the entire execution team, engineering team worked so hard to build that product. And when we were just ready to go into production, you can't come in and tell me that, the business case has disappeared and we're going to cancel the product. At worst, of course, if the business environment allows, you might as well put it on the shelf or something. Anyway, but why didn't we mitigate the market or the customer risk by engaging with other customers? What was the ROI? How could we have improved it? How can we still leverage the silicon that we have in hand, create a derivative and sell in industrial applications or other market segments? So you see, my questions were endless, and I was not afraid to chase the answers for those questions. So I would go off and start building relationship with diverse functional roles. So roadmap team, marketeers, sales, FAEs, even legal team, trying to uncover the answers for all these questions. And a lot of times I would get like people say, oh, you're a product engineer. Why are you asking questions on business case or how we position that product? Sometimes, not often, but sometimes I would get that. But, I went to my boss and I said that I will make sure no balls get dropped in my day job, right? But please give me the opportunity to take the silicon and partner with some of the systems and system engineers within the organization and see if we can sell this, product, position it for industrial segment and sell it to industrial customers or find new homes for this part. And that's when I got the very first taste of, I would say, customer interaction. And I just realized I love talking to customers, and that's listening to their challenges, understanding their pain points, and so on. So that was my first kind of transition within TI from a product engineer to more of a marketing roadmap kind of person. And from there on, just took on different roles within the company that had a stronger and stronger element of customer interaction, just closer to customers. And I think it was good because I was able to establish that credibility with customers, because if the product, having come from that background, I could speak to schedules, I could speak to challenges, I could speak to why does it take so long to, say, qualify or characterize a product. Those kind of things I was able to answer. So that was my transition into the different roles within TI.
What was the outcome? Did you find a use for that silicon?
Yeah, we were able to find some new homes for that product, for that derivative product. I think there were a lot of lessons learned that we made sure that follow-on generations we do better on. So it was just always that mindset of continuous learning, continuous improvement, and making sure we implement those as we build follow-on generations. But
I
I
love
would
that.
say in my transition, in all these transitions at TI, one thing that I would say that I kind of learned the hard way is actually three pieces. First is that you may encounter naysayers who would say that you can't do this, you're too green for doing marketing. I mean, I used to hear that. Especially as I was making a transition from product engineering to marketing, I used to hear people say, "You're too green. You're not going to be able to impress a customer or show value proposition, or you're too green." All those kind of comments I would hear. I would say, don't let that down, and take that feedback with a positive intent, and try to learn and try to prove those people wrong if you have conviction that you can do it. Second thing I'll say is you're never going to be 100% ready to take on the next role. Expect and embrace surprises. Sometimes those surprises are fun and they're great. Sometimes they're not. The point is you just expect the unknown and embrace the unknown, and just take those challenges head on and have the courage to deal with them. And lastly, I'll say is every time you take on a new role or you do a transition in any role, right? Initially, you try to listen and learn when you're ramping in the role. And that's right, you should do that. But I would also say that don't be afraid to voice your perspectives, because you bring that fresh pair of eyes, and your perspective is very valuable, especially in the first 3-6 months before you drink the Kool-Aid. The longer you wait, you are one of them. So that fresh pair of eyes, that value doesn't come through. So, and it was harder in the beginning of my career as I was transitioning to different roles, was because I am of the mindset I got to get my head down, I got to learn, I got to get in the position where I understand the business, where we are winning, why we are winning, where we are losing, why we are losing, just do the data mining. And sometimes I wouldn't voice my opinions as much as I should have. So those are the three things I really encourage anybody making transitions, is like always, assume positive intent, take the feedback, and have the courage to have the conviction that I could do it. Second is embrace the challenges as they come on. It's always surprises. And lastly, listen and learn, but don't be afraid to share your opinions.
So you've worked a ton of places. You have almost a storied career at multiple companies, and you are now at Intel. How did you get a start there, and what do you do now?
Yeah, I joined Intel in 2017 to run a small size P&L, and P&L was something that I had never done before. Like, I had done product engineering, somewhat test engineering, some program management, done marketing, roadmap development, system engineering, but I just never had the opportunity to manage and lead the R&D component in addition to the business interfacing teams, like complete end-to-end R&D plus the business side. And so that's how I joined Intel. And over the past 5 years or so, my role expanded. And today I'm responsible for PSG's Programmable Solutions Group, which is a classical Terra business that Intel had acquired back in 2016. So I run the marketing, product line management, and programs organization within PSG, where I am focused on shaping our product strategy, building our go-to-market plans, defining new business models with our customers as well as our partners, establishing thought leadership for our story, our strategy, our products, and spearheading different programs. Like I have also the charter for academic program, intern program, rotation program, and emerging professional program. So it's great opportunity. I strongly believe there's so much we can do every day. I feel like there's more to do than the number of hours that we have in the day, and so that's my current role at Intel.
How do you prioritize when you have a huge swath of priorities but only so many hours in the day? How do you How do you choose what to focus on, and what tools or techniques do you recommend for other people who are in similar situations? Asking for a friend.
Always we can argue there's there's never enough time to get something done, right? So I typically just prioritize my time by looking at urgent and important, right? Those kind of things. Just really assessing the ROI. I try to delegate. I mean, I have a great team. I feel very fortunate that I'm surrounded by incredible team leaders on my organization, and then I can rely on them. And there are certain decisions that I fully empower them to make and be accountable for those. And there are certain decisions where I need to spend my personal bandwidth and energy. So just having the clarity of purpose and just assessing the ROI, understanding what's urgent, what's important, those kind of things. And that's how I spend my time. It's not about working hard. It's not about long hours. It's about working smart. It's about understanding where you can have a bigger return on investment and business impact. You don't want to do busy things. You don't want your teams, actually your engineers, you don't want to have them do busy things, right? They want to work on things that are more impactful. So we oftentimes, maybe we don't do enough, is we very intentionally and deliberately carve out time where we talk about what can we just drop below the line. Like, what are the 3 things we're going to stop doing? What are 3 things that we should start doing? And what are 3 things we should continue, right? Those kind of conversation help us stay focused. To be honest, we could do more of this. We could actually do more of those kind of things to keep us more, I would say, impactful, help us stay focused and be more impactful. But those are some of the little tricks I use. I use calendar quite a bit. I block my time. That forces you, like, there would be like a chunk of a couple of hours on a block on my calendar where I'm just doing thinking, right? Strategy, thinking, brainstorming, that kind of a thing. There would be times where I would just block my calendar for, reflecting. What could we do better? Like, what are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned in the last 1 week or last couple of weeks that I can share with other folks, right? So it's just using your calendar to your advantage would be another tip or trick that I could share with a lot of people.
That's great. Yeah, I know there's a couple engineers in the building where I work where you'll see them just walking laps around the hallway. And I've learned, like, don't go talk to those people. This is time that they've dedicated to focusing in on, solving some tough problem. You mentioned you're in charge of, you have the charter for the intern and future talent leaders. Can you tell me what that role entails and why, who might be interested in something like that?
So this is very, very close to my heart. I myself was an intern. That's how I started my career. So, I mean, I'm just so passionate about this. Intel's committed to addressing the global challenges, broadening access to opportunities, supporting our community needs, and inspiring our next generation of leaders, which is the innovators and these kids, right? So at PSG, I run these 4 programs: the academic program, intern program, emerging professional, and rotation program. So in academic program, what we do is we work very, very closely with universities worldwide. We support them with their curriculum. We, vet with them. We make sure their courses are designed appropriately to address the next generation needs or the trends that are happening in the industry, looking at their hardware curriculum, software resources, tools, and so on. Ensuring that we provide access to Intel's developer cloud for leading edge technology to students and enabling even remote access, to FPGAs for our students. And in the intern program, we target the graduate and the undergraduate opportunities to help our students get the hands-on experience. We'll go and nurture these, bring them on board as intern within the organization, nurture them, give them, diverse set of experiences and access to tools, give them hands-on experience. And then so when they kind of finish their internship, oftentimes they end up, of course, staying with us. They have a full-time offer, right? We want them to stay with us, take a full-time role within the one of the functional organizations. The intent is really to, give them opportunity for development and growth. And then, just give them a sense of belonging in the virtual world, especially in the last couple of years, with COVID, everybody's working remotely. There are different things that we are looking at to ensure that they have the well-rounded experience and they feel more inclusive, despite the fact they are just an intern within the organization. So we do driving some of that intern program for the org. And then emerging professionals is like, what is the onboarding experience of these people who we hire fresh out of college, right? What does that experience look like? Do they have appropriate level of training? Do they have mentors? They have sponsors? They have people who they can count on. They have their own sense of community. So all the new people who are joining the company, they have a sense of community. They have a group where they can share their challenges, their learnings with each other, and grow together. And then rotation program is something that we have designed to basically provide a more nurturing and development to a set of people who we believe could benefit the most from well-rounded experience. So they go off and rotate. As for a couple of months, they might be rotating in marketing organization. For a few months, they might rotate in engineering organization. So they get this diverse set of experiences, and then they can decide based on this, oh, I think I can add more value in engineering. Because a lot of times, especially when you're fresh out of college, you don't know what you should do, right? But I did not know. Like I was thrown into product engineering, but it took me 4 or 5 years to find out that, I could also be a marketing engineer. I could also be a roadmap engineer or a system engineer, and I could add a ton of value there. So it's just helping these kids with experiences and their development.
I'm a huge fan of rotational programs, mostly because I think if I'd gotten into one, I would have thought about the degree and the job market very, very differently. I could honestly spend the rest of the episode there, but I won't because you have a lot of other responsibilities. You're the vice president and the general manager of the Programmable Solutions Group. What does that entail?
Yeah. PSG, of course, the product perspective, our core is FPGAs and structured ASICs. But of course, there's a lot more, outside of that. We do have also software, the IP that goes in FPGAs. All of that is all encompassed in the group called PSG.
So what's new in the world of FPGAs?
Yeah, ton of excitement. We are living in the age of disruption where there's so much technology innovation and business transformation happening swiftly across multiple market segments. And in this age of disruption, I would say the role of FPGAs have never been more important. FPGA industry right now, if you look at it over the last couple of years, is experiencing a stunning growth. And what is even more exciting is that Intel PSG is one of the key drivers that is fueling this growth. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it. The trends that we are seeing in the industry are very demanding. Like our customers are always asking for faster, better, power efficient, more reliable, easy to use solutions, just pushing the spectrum in every single dimension that you can think of. And this astounding growth that we are seeing in the industry, as well as if you couple that with some of the unprecedented global semiconductor supply constraints that overall, I would say, industry has been grappling with over the past 2 years, have been pushing us as PSG to be more deliberate in how we deliver excellence to our customers. And that excellence not only includes product leadership, of course, the performance, the power, the features, the capabilities, the software, the IP, all of that is super important. But it's also how we deliver the entire solution to our customer, how we provide supply continuity to our customers, how do we deliver great developer experience so they can go off and build their next generation technology and their workloads they can build on our FPGAs. What we have realized over the last couple of years is that the number one feature that the industry needed was availability and supply. We know that, right? With all the semiconductor shortages that we have seen.
Don't get me started.
And so you may have a brilliant strategy, a blockbuster product, or a breakthrough technology, and all that can put you on the competitive map. But what can really keep you there is solid execution over generation, not only just building a product for this generation, but over generation, having a roadmap and your continuity of supply. So we are really, really excited about the opportunity ahead of us. Market is growing. We are growing. We have exciting roadmap. A lot of things that we are doing going forward, which is like our entire roadmap is going to be built on Intel manufacturing footprint to make sure we always provide the supply chain resilience to our customers. So all of that is great. We have a leadership product right now, Agilex. I don't know if you've heard about it. Leadership product out there in the market, which is having great acceptance. Customers are asking for it. They're really excited about the capabilities that we are bringing to the market. So these are really, really exciting times for us as a business and even overall for the FPGA industry.
I was reading up on Agilex. It looks pretty awesome. For those who don't know, can you share what about it is getting customers and people excited?
Yeah, it is no secret. I'll tell you, like Agilex, the key thing there is we are, with Agilex, we are able to deliver 2x better fabric performance per watt compared to competing 7 nanometer based FPGAs. And I'll tell you a little bit more. Why is it important? I mean, it's no secret that the rise of our data-centric world means massive increase in the amount of data that we are storing, we are moving, as well as we are processing. It's widely understood that we need to increase the performance of the components that are involved in these processing chains to keep up with the demand. But simply increasing performance does nothing to reduce power. We need products that can deliver more work per power. In other words, the demand is that these products can deliver greater performance per watt. So that's the metric we look at. Which products can deliver more work per power? And Agilex right now has 2x better fabric performance per watt compared to 7 nanometer based FPGAs. Agilex is built on Intel's 10 nanometer SuperFin and Intel 7 technologies that is sourced from geographically diverse fabs and using our proprietary packaging techniques, as well as our chiplet based design methodology. And that allows us to really control overall all aspects of our manufacturing to ensure we deliver maximum supply chain resilience to our customers. So it's really, really exciting times with Agilex out there in the market right now.
It's been interesting to watch power consumption get more and more important. Compute power has always been a thing, but power consumption seems to be a hotter and hotter topic, no pun intended. Can you tell me more about chiplet design and what advantages that brings you?
Yeah, so what we have done is we have employed this advanced design approach, which is heterogeneous chiplet-based methodology to achieve technology leadership, enabling our FPGA customers to get more advanced features like, for example, 116 gig transceiver or PCIe Gen 5 or CXL, which is a compute express link support as quickly as possible. So what this does is this methodology, chiplet-based design methodology, we can rapidly combine production-proven FPGA fabric die, which we have already kind of released to production, with new purpose-built chiplets, such as, for example, you might have a chiplet for advanced transceiver. You might have a chiplet that enables you to interface with a processor. You might have a chiplet with more optimized I/O, custom computing, and many other functions to create solutions that are uniquely optimized for each application. So what is the result? Well, the result is a range of pioneering FPGA products that have delivered industry-leading first capabilities and leadership features. By following this design methodology, we have been first to market with our 116 gig transceivers, PCIe Gen 5, and the CXL support, which is the Compute Express Link, the interface. And we announced also our direct RF portfolio recently, which includes the highest sample rate data converters in the industry, both ADC and DAC. And with up to 64 gigasamples per second, our direct RF portfolio can now address RF applications that other FPGAs, I would say, from our competition can't even touch. And And it is due to this chiplet-based approach and methodology, we can, accelerate not only our own time to market, but our customers' time to market, because now we can really give them something faster, as well as it eliminates the risk that is built in, because the fabric itself is production proven. And we just combine all these different chiplets for different applications.
So you can almost take the flexibility of an FPGA, but then by putting different chiplets in that system, you can add another layer of flexibility.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And you mentioned heterogeneous also.
Yeah.
Does that mean you're doing like tensor processing and other types of processing, or what is that?
Yeah. Let me tell you a little bit more about that. So, we have recently actually announced our brand expansion. We are taking Agilex, the goodness of Agilex, the power performance leadership of Agilex. And since it has become very prominent in the industry, and our customers have been asking us to expand the scope of these FPGAs to suit even broader set of applications, from data centers to the edge, from advanced communications to embedded systems, from enterprise and commercial to military and aerospace product. So we recently did the brand expansion, and our latest Agilex FPGA family is now virtually, span every application and every performance level. So Agilex 5 is basically the family now, which is can serve broad range of applications that require high performance, lower power, and smaller form factors. And here we have actually two families, or two series, I would say. One is called the Performance Optimized D series, Agilex D series, and then the Power Optimized Agilex E series. These two series, they also feature the industry's first enhanced TSP with AI tensor block, which delivers high-efficiency AI and DSP functionality to enable our customers to optimize the performance and power efficiency for their workloads. So with AI tensor block, we can now enable more operations for AI inference at the edge. So when you combine general DSP blocks and the programmable logic with tensor capabilities, you enable the ability to do both pre and post processing using the DSP function, and AI using the tensor portion. I would say these characteristics make these two series, the Agilex D series and Agilex E series, they make them ideal for mid-range applications across the edge. There's just so much AI at the edge that's kind of in the buzzword per se, right? And even not just edge, like even including wireless and wireline communication, the video and the broadcast equipment, industrial applications, test and measurement products, medical electronics, and even defense applications. So there's just a lot of demand, I would say, for a product like these, which is performance optimized as well as power optimized. And this is what we are doing with Agilex 5 devices that we have just recently rolled out.
What would surprise people about this who have been people who have been working with FPGAs their whole careers, and then what would surprise people who are just getting into FPGA design and integrations into their designs?
There's just really Agilex, hands down, is the industry leading product right now. Of course, the performance, the capabilities, the feature set, it's all one thing. The other thing is they have the peace of mind that because these products are built on Intel fabs, and because we have end-to-end control of manufacturing, we can offer the supply chain resilience, which a lot of other competitors, they can't do that. They don't have that level of control. And going forward, if you look at our roadmap as well, it's all built on Intel. So as we are kind of shaping up our roadmap and our products, we want to make sure that we are delivering leadership across all the vectors, leadership in capabilities, leadership in performance, leadership in developer experience, leadership in manufacturing and supply resilience. So customers don't have to think twice who they go with, right? So we are trying our best to make sure we take care of all the elements that they would comprehend as they are making some of these decisions for their next generation systems and designs.
Yeah, I think there's never been a better couple years to own your own supply chain start to finish.
That's right. That's right.
So I recently saw there was some news about expanding the Agilex brand overall. Can you tell me what that looks like and where this is going?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Very excited about that. The Agilex portfolio now, we recently announced that it's now composed of 4 different tiers. And with each tier offering specific optimizations that are designed to meet and exceed the needs of target applications. So if you think about it on a scale 3, 5, 7, 9, so 3, on a relative basis, 3 is where you're going to get the most cost optimizations, relatively speaking, smaller form factors, less logic capacity, lower power. And 9 is where you would see highest performance, increasing logic capacity, more features, more capabilities, greater I/O bandwidth. So those are the 4 tiers that we have. And so Agilex 9 is where we are trying to push the limits of mainstream programmable logic. And these FPGAs provide unprecedented capabilities and optimization for target applications. So direct RF that we talked about earlier is part of Agilex 9. Then Agilex 7, I would say, is the highest performance FPGAs that are delivering industry-leading fabric and I/O speeds, which are ideal for most compute, I would say, bandwidth and compute-intensive applications. And this is where, I would say a vast majority of our existing Agilex portfolio that we have released to production is part of Agilex 7 family. Agilex 5 is the mid-range FPGAs that are optimized for applications that are requiring higher performance, lower power, and small form factors. So we talked about Agilex D series and E series. So the D and the E, which are more performance and power optimized, those belong to Agilex 5, where we have also the enhanced DSP and AI tensor block. And Agilex 3 is basically power and cost optimized FPGAs in compact form factors, essential building blocks that are targeted for a very wide range of applications across many, many market segments. So these are more for really cost-driven applications and most power optimized applications. So we're really excited about this brand expansion. Basically, we are now taking the goodness of the Agilex fabric and the performance per watt, leadership that we have, and now trying to expand that goodness in wide variety of applications and coming out with more products and proliferating that Agilex.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
And the branding fits the Intel processor nomenclature perfectly. So
yes.
like a 3, a 5, a 7. Okay, I see a trend here. So given that it's Women in Engineering Month, what advice do you have for other women who are trying to carve their careers out in tech?
Yeah. You see, and I've been on this journey. It's very, very one of my favorite questions that you have asked in this session today. I sometimes hear these heartbreaking stories. And to be honest, like I said, I've been in these shoes many, many times where women would come to me and say, I've been doing the hard work. I'm passionate about what I do. I've been hitting all my goals, and yet my career is not rising the way it could. I'm not put into the roles that could truly amplify my potential. What am I doing wrong? Those kind of questions they come and ask me. You see, we all put our faith in the system to take care of, it and help us move forward. The problem here is that the system itself is not stable. Gone are those days when hard work, performance, passion, and degrees were everything you needed. These are necessary, don't get me wrong, but insufficient conditions for your own personal development, your growth, and your career success. It does take a lot more. And I think today's careers in the world and the way the industry overall is shaping, it's no longer like a hierarchical one way of looking at how you're going to solve problems. It's more of a, I would say, sailboat where you're out there in the ocean, winds are coming from every direction, every angle, and you have to adjust your sails oftentimes to keep moving forward. So things that you would have to adopt, which have personally helped me quite a bit in my journey is, for example, how can I build a mindset of embracing and learning from failures and setbacks and build that resilience? The more it's never a story of how you became successful. It's always a story of how many times you failed and what did you learn from those failures to get to where you are today. So that's number one. The second one I would say is modulating your strengths. It's the hardest development work that you will ever do on yourself. After all, I would say it's your strengths that got you where you are today. So sometimes you just have to know when you dial up or dial down your strengths. As leaders, we are expected to be bold yet vulnerable, polished but real, powerful yet approachable. Do all that and still be, I would say, comfortable in your skin and be confident in your skin. And so, it's not about, especially as you think about confidence, sometimes it gets misconstrued so much. People say confidence means you have to know it all. Like I had that mindset. If I'm walking in the room with executives in the meeting, I have to know it all. I have to do my homework. I have to work hard. I have to know every single detail before I walk into the room. Well, that is not confidence. I have learned this the hard way. Confidence is not, I know it all. Confidence is, even if I don't know the answers, I am confident that I will figure it out. I'll rely on people who I'm surrounded by. I'll rely on, my ways, and I'll figure out the answers. That is confidence. So that's another area I would say is like we get, especially women, we always think that, we need to have every single detail before we walk into a room or in a meeting, right? That's not true. The other thing I'll say is courage. It takes courage to fail and have that mindset of be okay if I'm going to fail, but I'm going to take risks and I'm going to learn from those. And lastly, I would say is people. I would say that I've just been so fortunate to surround myself with people who push me every day to be more and to do more. They believe that I can achieve so much more than I ever thought I was capable of. So it just go find those people in your lives, because you need that. You because that just inspires you, because not only you want to do it for yourself, you want to do it for them. You want to prove them right. And it's not that they just always say, they are the ones who are most critical of what you do and how you do, because they see something that, that is so much more than you can ever see. So those are some of the things that I would love to share with those women and those people who are trying to really be successful and trying to navigate their careers in the current world.
Well, I'm very inspired. I might cut that out and just listen to it every day before work. We're almost out of time. We like to do a lightning round at the end. First question for you. Do you have a favorite engineering or tech figure in history?
I keep coming back to that, that teacher of mine, his deep-rooted curiosity and mindset of possibility just really, really has shaped me. He's my hero.
I'm so glad that you had someone like that in your life. One more question for you. If you had to retire from tech today, you couldn't do it anymore, what would you go do?
Well, I would like to teach, and I would be that person who my teacher was for me. So, inspire people, have faith in those people, make education accessible for rural areas across the world, not necessarily just in India, but I really, really believe that I was fortunate to have that opportunity to educate myself and change the lives of my generation, my future generations. And I think if there's anything I can do with technology to make it more and more accessible in rural areas and just change their lives, that's what I would do. I'm just very passionate about education. I'm very passionate about teaching. So that's what I would do.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time and for being here. This has been incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel. It's just a pleasure being here.
Well, the pleasure is ours. What a great way to kick off season 6, and we're just getting started. We have some great guests lined up. I'll be back here in 2 weeks with Fern Yoon, Director of Automotive System Engineering at Texas Instruments. If you like this episode, head over to the Moore's Lobby social pages and tag someone who you think will like it too. We're sending Moore's Lobby swag to folks who do that. And also make sure you're subscribed in your favorite podcast tool and on the All About Circuits YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today in the lobby. It's a genuine pleasure to get to do this with you. I'll catch you next time.